You listen to conversations from leaders making good things happen in the Kansas City area on Changemakers Kansas City on One Kansas City Radio, 100.1 FM in the urban core, where we aim to entertain, inform, educate, and inspire.
So welcome back. My name is LaDawn, and I'm going to be talking to runner Eve. And so the first question is, how has BeliEve and AchiEve been incorporated in your life?
Well, it all starts with the journey itself. So a lot of people know about me as far as runner Eve, but that starts ever since I was in third grade all the way up to college. I've always had that running spirit. I was that kid in third grade being competitive. I was always a little bit different. I wanted to start at a young age training professionally. I had my mom, my brother. I don't know if they wanted to do it, but I made them do it, be my coaches. And I had started doing like the Jesse Owen games, like for the kids all over Texas traveling. But I actually started off in long jump, triple jump. And the irony of it, I remember when I would go to some of these events, I would actually see other kids running and they could just run. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. I've always had that competitive spirit where I was like, I can do that. I can run. I want to beat the odds. So I've always been, I would say for me, even third grade on up, I've always kind of been in warrior mode. It was developing for the process down the line where BeliEve and AchiEve would start. And why I say that is preparing me as a young kid. I didn't know back then the stuff, why I had that spirit of wanting to run, having that passion. You know, I looked up to Prefontaine, one of my idols. So there's all these different people I would look at as a kid, I would see on TV, and I'd be like, I wanted to one day be in their position. A lot of people say stuff they want to do, but it's very rare you see people actually get to go to those moments. They say of their idols, people they look up to. And I remember being one of the, as people would say, the known runner Eves. That's how the name got in my community. You would see me in the streets. I would challenge the neighborhood kids. And I'd say, hey, I can run faster than you. You know, I always liked being involved with the community. Even now to this day, there's a lot of people just back from my hometown. They always reach out and say, hey, we're glad you representing our community. If I would say the name Big Spring, Texas, people are like, is it really big? I'm like, no. There's a spring, though. That's why. But having that, I think upcoming and bringing it prepared me for the later parts of my life. You know, I've actually, to this day, look back, I have one of the fastest records for the mile and 800 in high school. Most people can't still say that, you know. I went on to college because of it. With college, I ran for Wichita State University. I thought I was a miler, and then I kind of reached out and did like the 5K, 10K races. And I remember because of that opportunity, when I was talking about as a kid, I like Prefontaine and want to be in his shoes, I actually got a run in the Prefontaine Classics. And for me, that was a dream come true because not a lot of people can do that. I'm this short girl, not long legs, defining, you know, beating all odds. And I remember in that race competing and looking at all these great runners, some even running professionally for other teams and just staying in shape to train for maybe trying out for the Olympics. So it was a lot of pressure as a freshman coming from a small town community. And I had actually ran the race, surprised myself. I ended up finishing in that race. I remember third place out of the runners. And it was just an awesome feeling to be able to run at the track that somebody I looked up to as a kid, always watching numerous movies and had posters of Prefontaine. Well, then you would think hearing all this so far about how much involvement I have. But little did I know that my storm was still going through. And why I say it's a storm is stuff happens to people and you don't know where to pick up the pieces. Mm-hmm. People don't tell you that. Yeah. And for me, that piece came that was missing was my mom. And she was one of my biggest idols, my coach. She had passed away. And I just remember lost my best friend, and I said, what's next? What happens? After college, I stopped running for 10 years. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I kind of shoved off. There was no more Runner Eve. And then I remember I got a call, and it was one of alumni. He ran for Wichita State, a really good runner. And he was like, hey, we want you to come do this 5K race. It's in January where it's cold. And he's like, you can do it. I laughed, and I said, you haven't seen me in 10 years. Like, I could probably maybe barely run a mile. I was like, but the cold might kill me. And he was like, no, I believe you. You can do it. And I was like, I didn't understand at that moment why he had so much faith, because I was like, he hasn't seen me in 10 years. And then he said the date. And the date was my mom's birthday. Wow. And I was like, that's what they're saying. Don't be stubborn. Get back in there. You still got a lot more. The race is not finished. So what's been preparing me as a kid, I didn't realize, it's still going to go in my life. And I just remember running the race. I said, okay, do it. I had a month to prepare. Very terrified as male and females. But I ended up surprising myself. I ran that race with all my heart. I ended up finishing out of, a lot of runners, 11th out of 209. That was the very first one. And I remember there was a woman that even had touched me on the side afterwards, and she was like, I tried catching you that whole time, and I didn't know what to expect. And she was like, you've been training for a long time, huh? And I'm like, no. I was like, but I stopped and thought, I had all these people believing in me to achieve. Yeah. And that's why it was so important to me. I've always had it heavy in my heart, because that's what brought me again to find who Runner Eve was. I started doing a lot of 5K races. If it wasn't like bringing some of these people on, one of my best friend's manager, she goes by Momo, but Modena. I'm like, we got another 5K race. You ready? She's a trooper. She goes out there in the cold. She doesn't care. She doesn't complain. No. She may inside, but she's very strong about it. Or if it's had any like big event going on, I've got Malek over here, like always giving me positive messages. You can do it. So a part of that, has helped me create and learn that awesome support with BeliEve and AchiEve. And I remember it was just one day, and me and Modena were kind of just walking around the mall, and I saw all this different stuff, and we started talking about it. We ran into another clothing designer, and she had a boutique. And she had said, have you ever thought about hosting classes and working out? And I was like, well, actually, I'm starting that in the process. I do that. And I got inspired because I saw how I could actually incorporate the message, not just a shirt, an actual brand with a message, a meaning behind it. Yeah. And, I talked to Modena about it. I was like, hey, should we try this? I don't know how people are going to react to it. And, she's always been one of my biggest cheerleaders. She's like, no, we got it. We could do it. Even the first day of release or anything, she was always right hand there to help with everything getting started. And so that's where BeliEve and AchiEve actually started the making.
That's awesome. That's an amazing story. And it's amazing how things can come together like that. So when you have chapters, what exactly do you mean by chapters in your story?
Well, I'm going to first refer that to Modena that's been part of it, her journey of it.
Hi, I'm Modena. And basically, I came with Eve to the mall, and we spoke with an owner of a boutique, as she said, about her message. And as we talked about her message more, I just thought about how it related to my life, and just wanted to encourage her to get her message out there about running and how she wanted to give up and ended up running on her mom's birthday. And then it kind of just drew me back to my own life with her message, because I'm a single mom. I experienced homelessness. I experienced a lot in life to where I just doubted myself, and just hearing her message gave me more hope. And so I started going back to school, got my associates, got my bachelor's, and now I'm in grad school, all with having a daughter, only one daughter, but she does theater, volleyball, singing, piano. Like, it's a lot of chaos, but it just brings a lot of positive hopes in my life. The fact that, like, she came to watch me graduate with my bachelor's. Like, if I just believe in myself, others believe in me, my daughter believes in me, I can do anything I set my mind to. I can achieve anything. So the brand has really brought a lot of positive events to my life, and will continue to. Like, it's been a great journey. I'm amazed and proud of this brand, and I'm happy to be a part of the brand behind the scenes, seeing all the hard work, all the pop-up shops, all the hard work, the blood, sweat, tears. Like, it's a lot that goes into the brand, and it's just amazing what's yet to come.
That's great. It's always great to have people on your side that's for you and with you. And
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think I would say that's probably the best part of it, is the chapters you're asking about. To explain it, is it's a journey. Everybody goes in life in a journey. And there's from good times, bad times. And that's why with this message, I believe in AchiEve, there's different chapters. Different chapters, for example, we had chapter 1 where we had the BeliEve. You got to believe first. You got to start somewhere. Then you have chapter 2, you have the AchiEve come with it. Because first you believed, you take those first steps. And then now you got the achievement part. Then it was appointed for chapter 3, which was self-love. And self-love, a lot of times we need a reminder of that. And that was a reminder in the process where I had to remember during my journey how to have that self-love again. And the latest chapter was chapter 4, the healing chapter. You know, a lot of times people say time heals pain, but it doesn't. It just gets better over time that you learn how to deal with it. It's okay to accept that. And that's why we had the healing chapter, because I got the achievement somewhere, somehow, but how did I get there? You got to talk about those moments. Not everything's always great. You're going to go through things in life that are going to challenge you. That's a true part of how you get your testimony is from that test. Yeah. And with that chapter, each one, I've been able to go out and meet other people. And it's very important who I select with the brand. I want somebody that has a good meaning and message behind it. And I've worked with a lot of places, a lot of businesses. For example, Malek over here, I mean, he has an outstanding example in how he's been able to incorporate with his stuff he has in his brand. So I'll let him talk a little bit about it.
Well, my name is Malek. I'm an owner of Chevalier Fashion. That's my personal brand. It's also my middle name, so it's kind of like it's deeper than just creating a name. Like, and I don't think a lot of people take heed to, like, when they start businesses, like, you can always get the attention that you want, but if it doesn't mean nothing, it's not going to hold value later down the road. So my thing is just like, when it comes to my brand, my thing was just all about mental health, love, motivation. When I made Eve, it was kind of like same thing. Only difference is just like you look at fitness and then you look at the journey of everyday life. Then when you actually have to like take the time out to separate personal, physical, and mental, then you got to really start actually understanding like, oh, okay, now I understand like this brand is way more than what is presented just on a shirt. It's more presented in just what you look at a name as. And that's the thing, like when you're surrounding yourself around people that have the same objective, the same motive at the end of the day, you more focused on pushing the mission for people to break that shell. Yeah. A lot of us that started our stuff, we were closed-minded. We were shelled off from the world. A lot of us got our own stories. Like, as you heard, you got 2 different stories. My story, a whole bunch of stuff. It's crazy. Like, I could, if I wanted to make a movie out of it, I'd make a movie out of it. But my thing is just like, I would make the movie to where it's more of you can relate to it, but there's a growth period. The thing is, like, it's always going to be a level to everything that we do. Just how, like, she has chapters, I got levels. My thing is just, like, I've been at the bottom of the bottom. So my thing is just I've crawled up every single step. I didn't want to take a shortcut. I didn't want to be like, I'm going to just go jump on the elevator real quick and just, like, we're just going to bypass all these problems. Like, no, we're going to go through every stage. We're going to go through them. They're going to be tough. You're going to cry. You're going to get mad. You're going to scream. You're going to act like a child. But eventually you're going to grow. And once you see that growth, you're going to be like, oh, okay, this was worth it. So collectively, like, when it comes down to this fashion thing, like, a lot of people got to understand, like, this, like, the clothes stuff, that's just materialistic. Like, we hold value. We hold value. It is deeper to us. We're all about help at the end of the day. If I can't help anybody with what I'm putting out, then what am I doing it for?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's great. I love to hear the positive things that you guys are putting forward and putting out to the world. So, are there any last thoughts or words that anyone has to say about your brands or your stories or anything like that?
I would just say, never doubt yourself. And if you do have some doubt, use that as looking at a different way as motivation. I'm this girl that came from a small town, had all the odds against her, raised by my mom. There's 5 of us. You know, I've always had to beat the odds. I've always had challenges that I could have easily reacted a certain way. And I did. You know, I've actually had to go through this stuff. The reason why is so I could be able to speak on it now. So I can talk about the different chapters. Talk about stuff that I would still go on till this day and will probably still go on in the future with BeliEve and AchiEve that I didn't realize in the past that was preparing me for now. You know, definitely I learned down the journey not just to put yourself in one box. There's stuff how I learned how to incorporate it all. Anything from clothing, the clothing line, I remember fashion shows I've been part of. Fashion shows where it was like high couture, and here's this person coming in with their swag, I would call it, with my leisure wear pieces and my J's, and people are like, oh, this is different, but that's the beauty of it. That's why I learned, like, you've got to break those boundaries. Being normal, I don't like that. I like the different creative side. You know, things I've said that I probably never realized, and I'm still always learning to this day, is also stuff like having a trademark. You know, we trademarked BeliEve and AchiEve. That was over a year process. All the battles that I had to go through life and patience and challenges, that helped me prepare for this. I remember I was so terrified of trying to start it, and me and Modena had kind of talked about it, and I was like, man, even the attorney's saying, I don't know, you should maybe change it up. Just change something because it's going to be hard. And she was like, no, don't change it up. That's part of the message. That's what you do. You always beat the odds. You always go for the challenge when nobody has faith in you. And you're like, I was right. So I told him, I was like, we're going to go forward with it. Took a long process, back and forth, bumping heads.
Very nerve-wracking.
Very, very nerve-wracking. But finally I got it. And I just remember the day telling her, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was just like, we did it. I was like, we got it, you know, and just to feel like that way. It's a way of honoring my mom's legacy, a way of showing it. Because she loved people. She loved working with kids. She was always giving back. And that's also part of the message of BeliEve and AchiEve. I was able to continue that going on. Worked with the different organizations, different businesses. You know, La Chere's Cheesecake, I will say. That's a place in Wichita. And the brand brought us together just online. We started talking. She started purchasing stuff. She talked about her dreams she wanted to have. And I remember saying, well, what's holding you back? You know, I'm always going to challenge somebody. I'm like, well, why? Why can't you have your own place? And I remember she's like, you're right. So we started brainstorming how we can make it work. And example, I started doing raffles. You didn't have to purchase anything. You just put your name in there, tag our business, That way she can get exposure, but the winner, she would go out and deliver it to them so they saw her face. And, now it's been probably a month, she opened up her first actual store. So to see that changes, to see the brand help making an actual positive impact when people don't think it, down from organization sports, gymnastics, softball, different stuff, even hairdressers. It's a different variety of people working with that I'm never going to be inside the box with the brand. And to be able to represent, people looking up, I didn't notice, but people will sometimes say, hey, aren't you Runner Eve? Aren't you that girl we see that's out there always working pop-up events or running around? And I'm like, yeah, you noticed. But I get so wrapped in the moment. I work hard. It's always a job. I don't get 2 days off during the weekend, It's Saturday through Sunday for me, all around, 7 days, going hard. But that's my passion. When you believe in something, you're going to give it your all. So I don't care if it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m., somebody messages me and says, I'm going through this, or I came across this chapter, can you help me out? I'm always going to make sure that person gets that time and helps them through it. I tell people, and they're always shocked. I remember one person had told me about his weight loss journey, and I remembered him, what he was trying to lose, and he told me about his success, and I was excited, and I remember saying that number to him. I was like, oh, so you've lost this much pounds. He's like, you actually pay attention? I'm like, yes, because you matter. And that's why I think, it dawns on me, sometimes people don't even get aware when people notice their accomplishments, that achievement. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely say from bringing the message across Australia, we had a person purchase a shirt from there. Wow. We've now had different places offer. It's inside Oak Park Mall, the message, the clothing brand you can find at with Danae and Dakota. Mm-hmm. Just being the trademark, going out to different states and being able to represent people that you don't have to be raised up in this, cookie cutter life. You can use your pains as a story to help others. And through the journey, I've been able to show people that to beat all odds, have a business, work different businesses, work with other companies, whether it's from modeling, doing promotion work, or making friends for a lifetime that you can work with. That's the beauty of it all.
Yeah. Amazing. So Malik, did you have any final words that you wanted to add to it as well?
Honestly, she pretty much spot on everything. I pretty much would say the biggest thing I probably put out there nowadays is people should focus more on outside of just believing in themselves, but just the mental health journey. I felt like regardless of where we're at in today's world, I don't really feel like a lot of us really take the time out to really dive in our mental and really understand sometimes it's okay to feel it it's not okay. Come clean, come out of it. Just be open to it. It's a constant battle. And I've noticed the moment that it becomes a constant battle, it becomes weakness. And I've noticed that more and more recently, a lot of us just keep putting this persona on I don't want to be a weak person. It's okay to be weak. You're human. You're you're gonna go through these stages in life. But it's nothing wrong with speaking out. It's nothing wrong for asking for help. It's nothing wrong with believing in yourself. It's nothing wrong with just taking that extra step in life to really not only just get help, but just to actually get to see yourself at the best person that you can be. A lot of us just sell ourselves short, and then the moment that we sell ourselves short, we just give up. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that should start being more of a narrative that we should really push more, because like I said, we're so wrapped up in everything else that goes on in the world, but then when it comes back to reality, nobody wants to be in tune with themselves. And it's just kind of well, what are you going to do? You so worried about what's going on around you, but what are you doing to prevent a lot of this? What are you doing to help elevate your mindset? What are you doing to be in the most best space possible to keep you on the right path. A lot of us don't have the right crowds. A lot of us don't have the right peers. Nobody has a person that can be in your ear and be like, hey, man, you screwing up, but hey, I get why you're screwing up, but hey, you can like pull your head out your butt for a minute and just like, let's go. Like, come on, like we got nothing but time on our hands. Yeah. That's the most valuable thing we got in this world. We lose more time the more we just keep sitting in this persona of where it's just like, man, I'm not dealing with nothing, I'm gonna just brush it off. No, like your mental health matters. Like, believe in it. Like you can do everything in your power to get better. Everybody knows that. It's a day-by-day process. It's never going to happen overnight. But if you start believing in yourself to do more, trust me, a lot of people are going to start seeing how green it is in so many places. I've taken that motion since I was 16. It's a constant battle. I go the ins and outs, but I've never stopped believing in myself to like, okay, you're going to get through it. I'm here now. I was just like, I'm still growing. I got too much room to grow. And it's like, I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the whole it's okay to be okay. I love that because a lot of people don't get that. So that's amazing that you're putting that out there for people. So Modena, did you have any final words that you would like to add to that?
I mean, I felt like even Malik covered everything I could ever say. Honestly, I just want to wrap it up with myself and just say it's you against you. No one's the person to judge you. Like, it's just what you believe in. Just believe in yourself and just keep pushing. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for spreading these wonderful messages. These just are very empowering and very uplifting. And I know that this could help other people when they hear your stories. Yeah.
I would say if anybody ever wants to know how to reach out to the platform and get more used to it, or just even if they need somebody to talk to, reach out. We've got all different social media platforms. You can go to the Runner Eve, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can go to the website, www.runnereve.com. You can go there to see different events, where the brand's going to be at, all the pieces for men, women, and youth. So, there's a little variety out there for everybody. But definitely, I would say stay in contact. That's a good way to meet people. And I think we've been asking the question. So how about we ask you the question on how the brand has actually affected you and you came across it?
Okay, well, so the first time I ever saw Eve was just on Facebook, because I usually like trying to put positive stuff on my Facebook and people that are going to be more inspiring. So when I saw Eve on there, she was constantly putting out positive messages. So I was like, okay, I'm going to friend her so I can continue to see positive stuff. And then throughout time, I would say something positive or she would say something positive and just comment on each other's stuff. And then I was like, wow, she seems pretty genuine. It's hard to see stuff like that on Facebook these days. A lot of people are complaining or being negative. So we just continued to text. And then eventually I used to live in Wichita. And then I moved here into Overland Park area. And she was like, hey, we should hang out sometime. And I was like, wow, okay. So then once we actually started hanging out, we realized that, wow, we do have a lot in common. And I just love the good vibes and the good, just encouraging and stuff. And she actually showed me a lot of places and everything that I had no idea how to get around Kansas City or anything. So it was pretty awesome just getting to know such an amazing person. And then she introduced me to some of her friends like Modena and Malik, and they're also amazing people. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't say that. If people want to look at this and see what they get out of it, is you're getting that true friendship reward, a friend somebody can lean on. That's the whole purpose of the message. You believe and achieve together. I say we step together, we win together. Some days people are going to have up days or down days. But, through it all, as long as you have people that in the same type of facility, understand the process, the journey, believe and achieve, I think you can get through anything. And it's an open, amazing doors to meeting a lot of people. And especially, I want to say special thank you, the Changemakers KC, because, I believe that was another act of how we had met.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. And we'd like to thank all the listeners out there. And
don't forget believers and achievers.
yeah.
But thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us. We know definitely takes a good support group. We couldn't get this far without you. So reminder, hope that you take this back as a positive way, how to believe and achieve again in yourself. You've got different outlets here. You met some of the most talented people on here. LaDawn, Malek, Modena, you can follow their social media pages for any inspiration. And just, don't be shy about it. Branch out there, because just that one conversation can change somebody's lives. And so definitely thankful for this opportunity again. You're going to always hear me say it, but Changemakers, KC, you've got my support all the time. I appreciate it. It's people like you that come in and make a different change in people's life to help spread the message out there. So thank you.
Thank you for listening to Changemakers Kansas City on One Kansas City Radio, 100.1 FM in the urban core, where we aim to educate, inform, inspire, and entertain.
I love